The increased intensification of globalization and the allure of post-colonial hybridity have transformed the concept of national belonging into a more complex, hybrid ethnoscape of transnational identity. The movement of capital, along with information imbalances and advanced interconnections through cybernetic technologies, has led to a constantly changing world and a shift in geopolitical dynamics. The notion of a homeland has become intricate due to the intersection of globalization and local forces, unsettling the traditional frameworks of nation-state modernity and self-representation. Amidst this context, themes of travel and the depiction of cultural and political displacement have arisen, blending conflicting elements and historical disparities within an envisioned transnational community. Diverse groups such as labor migrants, skilled professionals, exotic tourists, pilgrims, stateless nomads, transcultural border dwellers, ambivalent diasporas, and individuals experiencing forced or voluntary exile now demand examination and historical understanding as constituents of reshaped post-colonial identity. These investigations fall under the purview of the emerging interdisciplinary field of transnational cultural studies, as coined by James Clifford. The edited collection Borders, Exiles, Diasporas, edited by Eliezer Barkan and Marie-Denise Shelton, draws on the expertise of the American Comparative Literature Association to explore the dimensions of transnational flows in literary works by authors like Ronaldo Arenas, Doris Lessing, Paul Celan, and others. These themes are examined across various cultural national contexts ranging from Germany to Cuba, Africa to Palestine. However, the collection neglects Asian perspectives. The introduction of the collection highlights the notion of a global village, characterized not only by efficient communication, but also by common experiences of border crossings, immigration, and relocation. The collection focuses on literary representations of borders, exiles, and diaspora with attention to style, voice, language, and cultural political perspectives that shape these transnational concepts. In response to the categorization of numerous groups as minority cultures within the framework of hybridity and flux in the postmodern U.S., many are eager to engage in reinterpreting the transnational narrative and disrupting imperial modernity's canons. An example is Ronald Bush's interpretation of James Joyce's Ulysses through the lens of Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses, which retroactively attributes a post-colonial urban diaspora literary form to Joyce. While the editors assert that diasporic existence is affirmed globally, the passage notes that not all diasporic communities are progressive, with some adopting ethno-fundamentalist and neo-national agendas. The terms diaspora and exile often overlap, blurring the lines between prolonged connections to homelands and the allure of return, leading to a somewhat ambiguous and utopian explanatory paradigm. The complex postmodern diaspora is characterized by a fluid, rootless quality, and cultural border markers challenge the conventional boundaries of nations. Despite the difficulty in categorizing essays into specific frameworks, the editors ultimately present a mixture of themes, including exile, transgression, and post-coloniality, with a temporal trajectory of heightened encounters and dialogical pluralism. These essays, although at times complex, offer nuanced insights into contemporary diasporic discourse. One specific essay by Angelica Bammer discusses the challenges of racist nationalism and the marginalized position of foreigners in post-unification Germany. Bammer explores the possibility of aligning being German with progressive politics, grappling with personal complexities tied to identity, exclusion, and historical responsibility. As a German professor based in the US, Bammer presents herself as a migrating figure of exile as ambivalence torn between disclaiming and embracing her Germanness due to ethical, psychological, and historical considerations. Discussing the relationship between cultural identities and performance, Leslie W. Rabin highlights the use of theoretical binaries and the tension between essential and performative identities. She is cautious about the tendency of postmodernity and postcoloniality to prioritize mixing and mobility over stable symbolic categories. Rabin suggests that this approach might be overly campy and emphasizes that semiotic mobility might be seen as a form of category crisis. Despite this, there's a push to find resistance within the global culture's commodified context. For example, African-influenced styles are considered less prone to appropriation. Anne Donati's essay examines how the Franco-Algerian author Leila Seber subverts Orientalist discourse both from within and outside the majority French language through cultural message. Jane Hotchkiss explores how white settler ideology in Doris Lessing's fiction is challenged as South Africanist discourse displaces her work from a nation-building canon. Ricardo L. Ortiz discusses the exile of Ronaldo Arenas, a gay Cuban writer who struggled with his identity and cultural belonging in the United States. Essays by Aaron G. Carlton, Joan Brandy, and Tyrus Miller delve into questions of Jewish identity, Holocaust representation, and Western representation under the theme of diaspora. Renee Reese Hubert and Daniel Hurwitz discuss exile as a metaphor for withdrawal from authority into art, while David Brenner focuses on gender destabilization in a market-oriented study of a Jewish hermaphrodite. Catherine Portugues examines Central Europeans in Hollywood during the 1940s and their attempt to maintain their ethnic and regional voices. François Leonid examines post-colonialism and the public space poster art of France from 1968 to 1988, revealing multiculturalism's unease towards immigrants. Wendy W. Walters discusses how diasporic subjectivities challenge modernist notions of national belonging and racial identity, morphing into post-colonial multiplicity. The collection offers evidence of Edward Said's assertion that the homeland is initially recoverable only through imagination, and language becomes a tool for forging a writer's future.